Python is one of the most popular and beginner-friendly programming languages in the world today. It powers everything from web applications to artificial intelligence, automation, and even scientific research. If you're just starting out on your journey to learn Python, one of the core concepts you'll eventually hear about is the difference between compiled and interpreted languages. But what does that mean? And where does Python stand? Imagine you're trying to read a book written in a language you don't understand. You could either use a translator who goes through the entire book, translates it into your language, and gives you the final translated copy, or you could have someone sit beside you and translate it line by line as you read. These two approaches reflect how compiled and interpreted languages work. Compiled languages, like C or C++, require the whole program to be translated into machine code, the language your computer understands, before it can be run. This translation is done by a compiler. Once the compilation is complete, the program can be executed very quickly because it's already in machine code. However, the compilation process itself takes time, and any changes you make to the code require you to recompile it before you can see the result. Interpreted languages like Python take a different approach. Python code is read and executed line by an interpreter. This makes Python incredibly flexible and ideal for beginners because you can write a few lines of code, run them immediately, see the results, and tweak them on the go. There's no need to wait for the entire program to be translated and compiled. Now here's where it gets interesting. Technically speaking, Python is both interpreted and compiled, but not in the way that traditional compiled languages are. When you write Python code and run it, the Python interpreter first compiles your code into a simpler form called bytecode. This bytecode isn't the same as the machine code that a compiled C program would generate. Instead, it's an intermediate form that the Python virtual machine, or PVM, can understand and execute. So when people say Python is interpreted, they're mostly referring to the fact that you don't need to compile your code manually. The Python interpreter handles that for you behind the scenes. And this flexibility is one reason why Python is so widely used for scripting, data analysis, and prototyping. But there are trade-offs. Because Python is interpreted at runtime, it tends to be slower than compiled languages when it comes to execution speed. This doesn't mean Python is inefficient. For many tasks, especially those involving automation, data processing, or quick development cycles, Python's simplicity and speed of development outweigh its slower execution. In fact, many advanced Python applications use libraries that are actually written in compiled languages like C or C++ under the hood. This allows developers to write high-level code in Python while taking advantage of the performance benefits of compiled code where necessary. For beginners, though, the beauty of Python lies in its readability, its vast ecosystem of libraries, and its forgiving syntax. You don't need to worry about memory management or compilation errors. You can just write code and see what happens. That's why so many people choose Python as their first language. As you grow more comfortable with programming in Python, understanding concepts like interpreted versus compiled becomes essential, especially when you start working with other languages or optimizing your Python programs. But in the beginning, the most important thing is to get hands-on experience. Write, run, break, fix, and learn. Python's interpreted nature means your learning curve will be smoother, your mistakes easier to fix, and your creativity less restricted. So don't be afraid to experiment. Whether you're writing a simple calculator or building your first web app, Python will be your supportive companion in the world of programming.